Good evening. I am here to do a video with the Soundhack Mimeophon. I'm not just running through some audio to repeat it or echo it. I don't find that terribly interesting. For what it does, it is beautiful, and I've certainly done that to add layers to patches or sounds or compositions. But what I particularly find interesting was the concept of playing the Mimeophon as a synth. It can generate its own internal noise inside when repeats are set to infinite, and that is very playable, and that is actually going to be my point to shout out to Loopop. If you want to walk through of everything the Mimeophon can do and all its various functions, I advise going to go check out that video. It is fantastic, and I would encourage supporting him on Patreon. I know I do. This is just going to simply be me sharing a patch that I've made with the Mimeophon as a synth. So let's give a brief description of this patch before I turn up the sound and let a little bit of audio go through. So what we got here is that the bloom is running off channel 2, and its sequence is being split through the shifty, a little bit of reverb, just a little bit coming through from the disting. The Mimeophon is also being routed through the Prism for some filtering. If you want to play with Mimeophon as a synth, once you've got you got your quantized voltages going through the micro, I don't know the official name for that, the micro rate controller, not the main rate controller for the Mimeophon. Then what happens is that this acts as a transposition of notes. What you want to modulate during that time, you leave it on zone 0, although you can move it forward and then it can show you more of the sound buffer. Just to leave it to play though, it can be a little bit finicky in that respect. I leave the repeats alone, but what I would do is I would play with the halos. Let's turn that up. And you can hear the smearing and the little bit of extra kind of reverb off that. Now that the halos are cranked up, we'll put it all the way. We'll switch the rate back up to normal, and that's kind of its bass sounds. And you can really hear what the halo effects are doing right now. So when you're playing with Mimeophon as a synth, the other feature that really works well to modulate or to play by hand is the color function, which is a sort of filter. So what I currently have is I currently have some CV coming from the oct, and I've got just a little bit of attenuation set to the positive side so that it sweeps across the central part of the range there. And we don't get too many high frequencies out of there, and we don't kill the sound by dropping it too low. But let's turn that up a little bit. And you can hear the pitch and tone change. I'll turn that up so you can hear that. That really harsh resonance, those really harsh tones from the Mimeophon. Now that I still have it modulated, but now that I cranked it up, do that a little bit more. Let's turn off the modulation. You can hear that really ringing resonance. It's a harsh sound. If you dig that a little bit, it can be cool, but too much of that is, it's not what I like. So I'm going to turn that down. So with the color down and the halos up, I'm going to change the rate back down again. We get a much deeper, bassier sound. So play with the rate a little bit more. That really cool Doppler shift. And you can hear here at max multiplication rate, there's a lot more of that resonance coming in. I really like that. That's awesome. That sounds good. See, if I was British, I'd be saying that this was Ace, but I don't feel like I can steal one of my Commonwealth brothers' lingo. But it sounds pretty Ace. There's a little bit of boing to the sound, a little bit of springiness. So we're going to reset the bloom and take the mutations off. And you can hear the bass trunk. It's got set to, I believe, 4 ratchets and no slew right now. And it's really just a random step sequence that I programmed. It's not a particularly easy to have something that sounds good, especially once it starts going through the mutations and the fractal variations. You start getting some weird sound spikes involved in there that you may not want. However, I'm talking about other stuff that's not the Mimeophon. See me doing some more videos like this with a bit more practice. I think it'd be kind of fun. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and give it the thumbs up. All right, have a good night.